What is up, everybody? It is Og here, back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to become unhittable. I mean, completely unhittable from melee attacks. You could still take damage from magic attacks, but this is going to open up a whole new slew of AOE farms, especially as we progress through TBC, getting better and better gear. So I'm going to show you guys the actual mathematical formulas in order to be able to do this. Pallies and warriors will be able to become unhittable and be able to pull off AoE farms just with pure reflect damage or with, consecrate and just not being able to get hit. And eventually we may be able to get even enough gear where we could do this with current content or at least something like Stratholme or maybe even Hellfire Ramparts, something like that. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how I was able to get unhittable. As you can see here, we've been recording it every set, but then I never took damage again or did damage. So this entire time that I've been talking, I haven't gotten hit at all. So I am now unhittable to the SM Cathedral mobs. You can still get hit if you get stunned or disarmed or things like that, so keep that in mind. But this could potentially open up a bunch of new AoE farms as we move on into the future. Overall, that was exactly 30 mobs that were hitting me, as you can see here, and it was about 4 minutes of them hitting me straight through. So in order to appropriately test everything and make sure everything was working, I went ahead and swapped out one piece of gear to see if we could then get hit by level 39 mobs. Now I have 99.23% avoidance from level 39 mobs. The rest of the mobs, I pretty much have 100% avoidance from. I think 38, I'm at like 99.8. So there's still a really, really low chance that I'm gonna get hit with this gear on that I currently have, but it does show that we are able to take some damage, whereas previously with more mobs for 4 minutes, we didn't take any damage. So this shows damage can still be taken, the formula should work, and we can leverage this for building our future sets. So the actual way that we calculate how to get avoidance caps so we can't get hit at all, becoming unhittable, is not too complicated, but there's some basic things that you guys need to know in order to figure it out. First, you have your stat sheet. You have defense, dodge, block, parry. Most people are familiar with those, but one key note is that within block, you actually have a block value as well. It's not just that you're blocking the entirety of the attack. Against lower level mobs, you probably will, but against higher level mobs, you need to keep in mind your block value. In this case, 424 damage. In Black Morass, for example, the mobs are going to hit us for about 200 to 220, and so if our block value isn't high enough, we will still get partially hit, which is why you may be getting a ton of the poison dots from the spiders because you're still getting partially hit, and because you get partially hit, you still get the effects that come along with a partial hit. So block value could become important when we're talking about higher level farms. Lower level farms, it won't really matter. As long as you have the total avoidance at 100%, you should be perfectly fine. But there's also a fourth hidden stat, and that is miss. Now, miss chance is generically at 5% chance to miss, but all three of these stats plus miss also get increased by two different things. The first is going to be your defense over the 350, which is the base for level 70, and then subsequently to that, a difference between your level and the mob's level multiplied by a coefficient. So what does that mean? Basically, we get two different benefits. The first benefit says, because our defense is higher than 350, which is 70 times 5, and that's how you can figure out a mob's hit level, it basically means that a level 70 mob, if they were to hit us, would be going up against a much higher defense. And so we have increases our chance to dodge, block, and parry by 6.08%, and also increases our chance to miss. We can now look over to the right side of the screen, and what we're going to see here is we're going to see the block, dodge, and parry, which automatically have that factored in. But now our miss is updated instead of 5% to 11.08%. So when we add up all those values, we actually get to a base avoidance of 75.03%. Further, though, we have additional avoidance. Now, the way that we get additional avoidance is by taking the mob level, multiplying by 5, and that gives the mob's attack. So in this case, the highest level mob that we can encounter in SM is level 39, which means the mob's attack level, or their weapon skill, if you want to think about it that way, is 195. Because our base is 350, we get additional avoidance of 70 minus their level, times 0.04 for each of the 4 stats, so times the 4 stats, times 5, because you get 5 weapon skill per level. Just like you were to level up your own weapons, you were going to level it up, 300 to 350 as you leveled from 60 to 70. It's that same concept. And so because of that, we get additional avoidance of 24.8%, which is why we're able to go to 99.83% and get hit twice while we sat there for about 3 minutes with those Centurions beating on us. Now, the level 38 mobs couldn't hit us at all because if we change this to 38, our avoidance is now up to 100.6. And so it really helps having a lower mob level, but if we're able to get up our avoidance high enough, we're actually going to be able to get to the point where we can't get hit in other dungeons. So if we kind of expand this a little bit, we can take a look at Mara, Stockade, ZF Strat, Black Morass, Hellfire Ramparts. You guys get the idea. We can take a look at some of these other dungeons. So if we plug and play a couple of these numbers in some of these other runs that we could do, we can see that Stockades, for example, we're at 110% avoidance. We will not get hit. Now we can still get hit because we could get stunned or we could get disarmed, which would make it so we can't block. And so you can still get hit potentially, but if you can't get CC'd, you cannot get hit. ZF, we're at 93.75, so we're pretty close. Mara, we're at 92.15, so we're pretty close, but we're not there yet. Strat, 84.15, so we definitely need a little bit of work there. And you guys can get the idea. But we're only about 20% off in some of these other runs, which means that we definitely have the ability to get there at some point. Just to show you guys the future potential of this, this is a phase 1 gear set. All this gear is attainable in just phase 1. And you can see here that we're at a total avoidance of 90.21% before we factor in the level difference of these mobs. This is only if the mob is level 70. And so if we were to plug in that 90.21% into our Excel, we could see here that we push SM, Mara, Stockade, ZF, and almost Stratholme completely off the table. Now this is without kings, so if you get kings on as well, you will completely push Strat off the table, and you'll be getting pretty darn close to pushing off Hellfire Ramparts and Slave Pens off the table as well. This is just with phase 1 gear. You guys can kind of see the potential as we move on further and further into TBC of what could potentially come for prop pallies and warriors AOE farming with becoming completely unhittable. Just to throw something real crazy out there to show you guys, because I'm sure some people would ask, down the road, phase 5, this is with full mitigation, the best potential gear I could find, 104% avoidance, which means if your block value is high enough, which right now it's only about 273, you would not take any damage from any mobs that are level 70. So this kind of shows you the potential that is out there. You probably wouldn't run this build because you only have 378 spell power and it's very health focused, not much intellect. But 104% avoidance is on the table by the end of TBC. So full avoidance builds are going to be something that is going to be very interesting to mess around with as we continue to build our paladins and even warriors down the future. All right, everyone, that wraps up today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you did, please subscribe and leave a like and a comment below to let me know so. And if you guys have any other ideas for any other videos, please let me know in the comments below. Also check out the description for the Twitch where I do all this live, and also for my Twitter and Discord where you guys can be notified of any future updates and when I'm going to go live on stream. So I'll see you guys in the next video.